scared to death Negroes are my enemy.
Yes, indeed, family. Yes, indeed. We're going to be cranking up in 5 minutes. We're going to get this thing jumped off pretty fast today. So we are on time for the live broadcast of today's debate, man. I really need to know from the family who y'all got. You hear me? Who do you have for tonight's Get Down and Get Busy? Because y'all know off top, it's going to be a lot of licks. Y'all know it's going to be wild. And I hope he go in his bag. I hope he go in the bag about her whoredom. Put her on Hoe Street. But we live in 5, family. Salute to everybody checking in. Make sure you're sounding off in that community kitchen chat. Salute to all coming in here.
Just step in their necks, constantly abuse them.
In the scriptures, there was a situation when Satan tried to tempt Yeshua on the mountaintop, and it probably went like this. First, I want to thank you for this interview that we arranged, and I hope that I can know that any of you that's kind of strange. Please don't mind me if I'm reading off my notes, I'm not deranged, even though I know it's awkward like a marriage that's arranged. You got flow, but I got question. Dialogue will be exchanged. Actually address it to you so we all can see a range. What you want to say to me, just trying to get from A to Z. You call me from an agency that's known for a lot of flagrancy, but gracefully I got some very good intentions. Hopefully you can hear me out and listen. Faithfully I got a vision. This is my extension of my gratitude with suspension. An audition given to you with good attitude and pension. With pension? Damn right. I got so much money I could stuff it down a damn pipe. I got so much paper I could push it goddamn right. Pockets full of it and made it filthy rich and white. I'm not the fishing type. You can't reel me in because my shit don't bite. If you try to deal, it's gonna be fist on sight. I'ma squeeze a pillow on your face real tight. I'ma bleed your tonsils while you piss in fright. I'ma be the one who really get your skin tan right. Blue discoloration just because your skin too light. You a violent one, but I bet $1 billion to make you bite your tongue. I got it for you in a suitcase just right by the gun. So if you try something, Mr. Nigga, won't be fun. Look,
scared to death Negro.
If you ever get ready, I could tell you facts and who to be like people like
are my enemy.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, family. Yes, indeed. We up in 1 minute, 30 seconds, and I'm just letting y'all come on up in here. We letting them notifications go out. The brothers will be checking in. Man, this is the debate we've been waiting for, though, family. This is definitely the debate we've been waiting for. So let's get this thing cranked up 1 minute, 30 seconds. Salute to everybody checking in. Salute. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Deion D. Jenkins for president. I'm about to drop my album. Who needs to go platinum? When you got an NFT, The industry is losing value, and I could tell by the value. We'll be worth $1 billion in 33. Mona Lisa even said fuck the masses. Even raccoons follow anything that leads to trashes. Backyard brawls, got you scared, so nigga pack your bras. And try not to slam the back door pause. Ever since I was a little kid, I knew my calling, it was troublesome. I used to walk to school and walking through the streets of the shadow of death. I didn't have any fear, even though niggas would shoot you through your cashmere. I stood up for my principles and got suspended for fighting by principles and living right like I'm supposed to. Never follow stupid niggas, I was too busy escaping the system I was told to prove to. There is a sacrifice that everybody pay. Whoever got anointed, it be loneliness sometimes. Yeah. The industry is over, the industry is over. The underground is king now, the industry is over. There's a new MC out here that sizzle like a soda. The industry became real flat like imitation cola. He got that buffalo attack, but he ain't from Dakota. He put that bully on his back, his chips is on his shoulder. He's like a Timberwolf, but nigga not from Minnesota. You spend $1 million and bluff him like you doing poker. Long live the king, long live the king. Reparations on the ballot, let freedom ring. Long live the king, long live the king. Reparations on the ballot, let freedom ring. Long live the king, long live the king. Reparations on the ballot, let freedom ring. Long live the king.
Scared to death Negroes are my enemy.
Yes, indeed, family. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Y'all better believe it is time to get into this thing. And it is the kind of conversation that we've been waiting for. But before we get all the way into that, of course, we're going to have to get y'all some appetizers to get you right. So let's get busy in this motherfucker, family, like we do.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook. But he was the chef up north.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Salute to everybody that's checked in. I see all of y'all coming in early. We've been waiting for this debate, man. We've been waiting for it. I see y'all climbing in here. Sound off in that community kitchen chat because this is what we've been waiting for. Yeah, you know what I mean? Versus Donald Trump. Trump, to be more exact than me. Listen, for me, I got to keep it 100 with the family. I don't like now one of these folks. But somebody got to come out on top. Pause. And hopefully, it is in a beneficial way for Black America. That's all that really matters for today. So we're going to have a conversation. But before we get into it, we got a couple appetizers. Yeah, of course, if you didn't catch up with it, your man Tyrese got pulled over by the police. You know, they gave him a little nigga treatment. Also, Tyrese had to go to jail. Shorty got him on a little child support lick. Hit him with the child support lick. Right? And then, of course, niggas is getting they bussies in a bunch over Lil Wayne not being selected for this raggedy ass Super Bowl when I thought niggas was boycotting this league many years ago. But I guess Jay-Z sent niggas right back to the couch because we moved past kneeling, as he said, ladies and gentlemen. So let's keep this thing locked and we're going to keep it cracking when I get back from this commercial, y'all. This is On Their Next Podcast, and I am your host, Chef C from New Jersey. We're here for the live presidential debate. We'll be back right after this commercial. Keep it locked with your boy.
I've been all over the world. I've noticed this about Black Americans, and I'll stop here. We have more people trying to turn us around than I've seen for any other group anywhere in the world relative to what our situation is. That you got teachers, you got people that will just do stuff. If they find out you're legit, just help you because they want to see Black folks make it. We do have this. This is lacking in other places, I can assure you. But you know what? Our desire to save people cannot be greater than people's desire to be saved and to help. So the people that do not want it, let them go. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. I sure get it nowadays.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Bloodline Films, what you saw right there. That's our episode, Washington, D.C. The irony of it all, isn't it? But family, let me go through the community kitchen chat real quick. Actually, first, let me get this commercial. All family, if you got to get the drippity drip. Yeah. If you got to get your drip, slide over from the soil.tv. Put on section, get your Black American Heritage flag, versus limited editions, ready to go right off top. Salute to everybody. Make sure you're also, while you're there, check out those Black American Heritage flag aprons. Always drippy, always ready to go. We got Thanksgiving coming up, family. We got Thanksgiving coming up. And you know what? I think I'm going to stop playing with the family and start releasing some of my culinary editions for y'all. Yeah. I want to do probably a segment called Delineated Cuisine coming off this side for the family. So y'all keep it locked and y'all let me know in that community kitchen chat and the comment section if you want a delineated Black American cooking series coming from Chef C. Let me know what it looked like, family. Right? Because I think we need to take this thing up even higher. And also, don't forget, while you're there, from the soil.tv, check out some of the rest of the merch we got. We got Black American Heritage flag, hats, a lot of fly shit over there. Hoodies, a lot of fly shit. Now, with that being said, let me go through the community kitchen chat, see what family is in the building right now. I got to see what's oh, shit. Oh, some of the family. Oh, I see some new heads in here. Some of the family, I see you in here. Let me go ahead and go through the chat and see who is in the building right now. First and foremost, salute to my brother Nico in the building. Yes, indeed, brother Nico. Salute. I know what type of time you on today, brother Nico. I know what type of time it is. Yes, indeed. I got my brother Negro checking in from Biden's backyard. You know he ain't gonna miss this one. Salute to the Negro. Yes, indeed, my brother Negro in the building. Who else is in here? All right, we got BAS to the S, Black American Service Supply. My brother Vader in the building as usual. Salute to brother Vader in the building. Yes, indeed. That kind of conversation tonight. I see y'all coming in here. It's going to be that kind of conversation I see. Is this my sister Namobi in the building? Salute to Sister Namobi in the building. What's happening with you, sis? Good to see you as always, sis. Always good to see you. Yeah, y'all what I mean? Oh, my sister Vina in there. Sis Vina coming through like she do. Salute. With Sister Vina in the building, y'all. All right. Let me see who else in here. Brother Cut the Check in the building. Yeah. What it look like, Cut the Check. You know what type of time it's going to be tonight. Who else is in here? Man? Let me see. Oh, man. We got the brother in here. Salute. Brother Grown Man Talking in the building. Salute the grown man. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this young man right here, very solid content creator here on YouTube, but ultimately providing mature value when it comes to standing on manhood. So salute to that brother, man. Y'all go check him out on YouTube. Another solid brother coming through. Salute, grown man. What it look like? Salute to you. And let me see who else is in here. All right, we got everybody. Brother Vader, the link is already dropped in the chat. And Wolf, if you out there, Coke, if you in the cloud, tap in, man. Tap in. We gotta have a conversation. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are a little less than 25, I would say 28 minutes away from this live, okay? From this live presidential debate. And you know what? I want to get y'all some appetizers, get y'all popping. Okay. Get y'all some appetizers, get y'all popping. So for those of you who have been following the Tariq thing, okay. First and foremost, for me, I'm really not beat for what was going on, honestly, because again, Tariq, I didn't see him. I didn't see him out there when we needed the boycott action. You understand? Like, is niggas not kneeling no more? I'm just trying to get an understanding. Are folks not kneeling anymore? Is the boycott over since Kaepernick got the settlement? Huh? Since Kaepernick got the settlement, Jay-Z told niggas we moved past it. Is niggas not standing on principle no more? I just need to get some understanding in here today. But before we go too far, let me go to the brother Negro and my brother Vader in the building. Salute to these brothers checking in off top. Salute to these brothers. What's happening with you, gentlemen? Brother Negro, what it look like checking in from Biden's backyard over there with you, family? What it look like, man?
Man, I just got done doing my little jog, man, my little power walking. So I definitely, I'm amped up. I definitely want to see what this debate is. Money on the orange man, but I ain't voting for neither. Keep that again. Money on the orange man, but I ain't voting for neither. I'm definitely couch ganging it, family. Definitely couch ganging it. Unless they got some reparations, hate crime bill, tangibles. You know the usual stuff that we ask for. That's where I'm kind of at.
Salute to the Negro checking in, man, as usual, man. Listen. I'm with you, man. Listen, in order to get me excited about anything they talking, because we know, listen, let's keep it 100. We already know it's going to be lick shot, sent off in this debate. We know that. Salute to the 60 plus in the building already. We already know licks is going to be shot off, right? She gonna come with the felony shit. He gonna come with her being a pass around. What I need both of them to come with is some real tangibles for Black America. Some real deliverables. Particularly, I could take the hate crime bill real quick. I could take that. All right. And I need to hear what's going to happen with this immigration policy from either one of these folks. I want to know firmly what they plan to do with this outrageous invasion that's literally taking place right now. That's what I need to know. But let me go to Brother Vader. Brother Vader, sir, checking in from Cali. You on the West Coast checking in, man. What it look like you over there for you, Brother Vader? What it look like, man?
Bro, out here on the West Coast, we expect our sister girl, D9 girl. We expect her to put up both her hands like she's holding a big old box and say some drunk shit, and we will take a swig on everyone. Every time
hey, you think she gonna be sloogie tonight?
She gonna come on, man.
I think she gonna be sober tonight.
That's her medication. That's her medication. Okay. She got to have her medicine. She got a flask right up there in the top corner of her bra.
Yeah.
That's how that's gonna go down. So, she's gonna hold up her hands and say something goofy. And every time she does that, I'm gonna take a swig, and I'm gonna be straight about.
You're gonna take a swig each time she talk that dumb shit, man.
Bottoms up.
Every time she say drunk shit, I'm gonna get drunk.
Well, gentlemen, we got a couple things we want to cover really quickly here. We got a little less than about 27 minutes to go. I want to get into Tyrese real quick first. Tyrese first, and then we'll go to the Lil Wayne shit, and then we'll probably chase it with the Tyreek John. But Tyrese recently got put in jail, okay, for child support. Now, again, if we can track some of the history of what's been going on with this dude, okay, you know, him and his baby moms, they've been going back and forth. She just been listen, she been cooking this nigga, man. Really been souffling this nigga, getting everything she could possibly. And he said, yo, he did it for the $10 sundress. He was going to change her life. $10 sundress. It cost her $10 to make close to $1 million and some change up off a nigga. That's a hell of an investment. If you going to hit a lick like that, it better be a come up, right? So let me play a little bit of something just to refresh a little bit of y'all memory real quick, family. Tyreek real quick. Let's play a little bit. Salute to brother Art of Dialogue for this little layup. But he
accountability.
He was on the joint with Lipstick, Lip Service with Angela Yee and another shorty talking about the experience and very briefly, and how he would never get with this ex-wife of his again. I mean, she came back. Samantha Lee, she came back a couple times trying to get with him. He curved it or whatever it is, but he really thought he was going to do right. And unfortunately, brothers out here, man, if you're not good at vetting your situation, if you're not good at vetting shorties, right, you're going to always be the lick, my boy. You're going to always be the lick, whether you got M's or you got T's, thousands that is, right? You're going to be the lick, my boy. Because again, all the shorty going to do is look at you for an easy lick because it's out there already. Use the crying nigga. Use the crying nigga, my boy. Tyrese, this you. Huh? Look at listen. Some shorties out there see this and say, I got to hit the lick on this nigga. Just cuz. I gotta hit him. And if it only costs me $10 to do it, that's an easy investment. Shit. Shorty like, listen, I've been opening my legs all my life. What's another little ding-a-ling going in between with a small $10 investment? Huh? Well, fair use, y'all. Fair use. Let's play this shit right here as he recaps the experience with this demonic chick that's hitting a lick on him.
Right. What did you say? What did you do? What was your agenda? What were you in this for? What did you make him think and believe? What was revealed? And what are you going to own? You know what I haven't gotten to this day?
Right.
You know what's crazy? Talking about accountability. I have not gotten one phone call with an apology.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many fucking interviews about this woman? You can't say you don't know how I feel about you. You've heard the songs. Listen, let me tell y'all something. My daughter, I know you told her to wrap it up, but this is going to be a 2-part interview and you're going to thank me for it. Okay. All right. So I have never played my music for my 5-year-old. Okay. Because my daughter sings, she loves music, all of that. This is grown shit. I don't talk bad about your mama to you. I don't try and keep our co-parenting relationship is the best shit ever. I wish it was like that for baby mama number one. She gets a motherfucking A++ on the co-parenting shit. But there is no other aspect of this person that I want to be connected to. I even have a nanny now that is the baby mama of John Singleton with a child named Seven Singleton. And she asked me the question about a month ago. You know, sometimes, Tyrese, when you're out of town and Seven, who is now best friends with Soraya, and they want to link up and go do play dates and have fun, you mind if I link up with Sam and make sure that the kids are still seeing each other? I said, no. No way. She said, okay, well, you mind telling me why? I said, I am concerned about what might happen to you. I'm concerned about a conversation that will be repeated. I'm concerned about some type of agenda that might pop up and hurt you the way it hurt me. And I would never send anybody that I love in the direction of that person.
Ladies and gentlemen, she got this nigga cooked. He's cooked. He is fucking cooked in the wildest way, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happens to unfortunately, some guys, man. Okay, you start out, you know what I mean? You're a little young up top in your head. You're trying to make some things happen, and you make some fucked up decisions. You make some bad choices in the beginning with your first shorty or whatever, and y'all just so happen to have a kid. So in this situation, I could think maybe, hey, Tyrese, maybe you went back and you said, when you get married again, you're gonna make sure that this shit is the right way, right? But you didn't. This nigga didn't know that shorty was lining him up. Lining him up. Huh? She said, listen. And it's listen, the tables have turned, ladies and gentlemen. This predatorial shit is just on a whole other level now. Dudes who become victims of their own aspirations. You want to be a general, you want to be a curse breaker, right? A generational curse breaker. However, some of these chicks don't necessarily even want to be on that type of time. They don't give a fuck about you wanting to break no generational curses or make up for your stupid shit when you was younger. You the lick now. Huh? You are the lick now, my boy. They got to cook you. So it's like, listen. Salute to the 90 plus in the building right now. I see y'all here for this. Listen, you got to tread carefully, gentlemen. You become something, which most of these, you know, the guys that tune into what we talk about, they are often quality men or en route to being quality men out here. Not no high value shit. We don't do no manosphere bullshit on this side. However, you know, you got to watch yourself. Yeah. You know, or you going to be out here like this for the rest of your life looking like this. Huh? I don't even mean to laugh at you.
What more do you want from me?
Cooked. But you got, listen, I don't listen. A lot of cats don't really fuck with Tyrese because a lot of this, but I understand where he's coming from. He putting on a little too much in certain areas, and the rest, I actually get this. I understand his position. So let me go to the fellas real quick. 78,000, I believe it is 73 or 78,000. This they are going after Tyrese for back child support. He has come up with that money, y'all. Just so we know, he has come up with that money after being arrested. Okay. And I'm not exactly sure if they released him, but he did come up with that money, back child support, allegedly. But she's going back, right? She initially asked for 10,000 from dude. She's going back now to hit a lick for 40,000 on this dude. 40,000 a month on him. And she's supposedly some kind of motivational speaker now. She bubbling. Niggas is listening to, oh, sis, you said that, sis. But she the one ran away from the relationship, divorced dude overnight. So I'm just like, yo, what people listening to? Huh? Yeah. Let me see what Brother Nico said. And I'm gonna go to the panel real quick. Brother Nico said beta males are rampant on social media. Something about the camera lens brings out the hoe. Shout out to Nico in them, aka Bit in these niggas out here. Salute to my brother Nico in them. Yeah, man. Just do anything for clout. Got niggas doing all type of different things out here in the streets. But let me go to my brother. We got the hold on, ladies and gentlemen. The wolf is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to brother Juan J. Johnson. Yes, indeed, brother Juan J. Johnson, sir. Are you there, sir?
I am in the house.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Brother Juan, can you shed some light on to this? If you're up to speed, this young man has been essentially terrorized by this ex, and essentially every kind of lawyer out there has jumped on board to pack him up. Some of them are even throwing him free services just to hit this lick. And now the Justice Department deemed it necessary, sir, to arrest him for back child support. What is a man to do when he's out here and he thinks he's doing all the best things that he can possibly get done for his family, and you're dealing with a vindictive ex? How do you rebound off of that, brother Juan J. Johnson? You're a father yourself, right?
Yeah, I am.
Father yourself, sir. How does a man keep his head above water when a chick trying to hit an everlasting lick on you?
I think first thing, you got to know your value.
Come on.
The second thing, you got to ask the question: is it love, or is it just my turn?
Go there. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Because this is not our mother's generation. He didn't marry somebody from the 60s and 70s. He married somebody fairly new at this game. Okay. Was it love? Well, we know it wasn't love. It was just his turn. Okay. And we need to deal with that. It's just your turn. I'm gonna put the ownership on him, because I'm pretty sure he saw some flags that he ignored.
Right.
The flags are always there. If there's one thing I know about women, they're gonna talk, they're gonna share, and whether you're paying attention or not, they're giving you the flags ahead of time. As a matter of fact, she wasn't even interested in him. She wanted somebody else.
Come on with it, Wolf. Come on with it.
And then when she couldn't get the other person, it became, okay, it's your turn. So I got to blame him for overlooking the red flags and not vetting this woman, not vetting her, man. So pay up.
Pay. Ignorance will cost you. Let me go to my brother Vader, another Black American father out here in these streets, man. Brother Vader, you know, you are one of the more solid fathers I know out here, still involved with your kids' life as best you can be. You know, how do you avoid, these kind of tactics to then be, I guess, poisonously injected into your child, your daughter's coming up, man, and them taking on some of these predatory practices, man?
Man, how do you keep your daughters from learning this kind of predatory behavior?
Right.
It starts in the crib, bro. No, it starts when you pick the right or the wrong one. You pick the wrong one, you get what you get, right? And as we saw the other night, right? You displayed the other night how degeneracy passes from mother to daughter, and it's a cycle, isn't it? Right?
That
Like
part.
you to the point where a man in his own home has to camera up his home, not from the intruders from without. It's the intruders from within, right? The transgressors that are inside his home. So, Tyrese, he's looking at something, and it looked good, like you said, in a sundress, and all the problems because of no discernment. After he saw whatever it is he saw, no discernment, and then everything cascaded from there.
Well, this is the thing that we have to tread carefully by. Gentlemen, you build yourself up. You build yourself up. Try to be that difference you want to see for yourself. But to the victor goes the spoils and the L's.
Well, watch this.
Yes, sir.
We have gotten away from the practice of bringing our potential fiancés before the parents to be screened. I don't think no female, no male who's serious about marriage should just marry a person without letting their mother or their father look at the person to see what you don't see. See, when you're in love, you don't see correctly. That's why back in those days, they bought their boyfriends and girlfriends before the parents so they can be examined.
Right.
An examination it's not always talking. When I got married to my children's mom, I told her, I'm not marrying you till I talk to your father and your mother.
Come on.
I was serious. And I met him, and he said he respected me because I had enough respect to say, you know what? Before I take your daughter, I'm coming to you for the blessing. Okay? Or for some information about your daughter, or you just examine me. See, most of us don't want to go on an examination because we know we foul.
Right.
Or we need 100. So if I can just blind this person and don't have to meet with nobody else, I got him. Again, his situation was she really wanted him first. Okay? So she couldn't get what she wanted, so she settled for him. Not even settled. She said, well, it's his turn now. And I'm going to keep driving that because it's always, you want folks to love you. You want to give your heart. But in this generation, you got to ask the question, is it just my turn or is it something real?
Let me cook on this. People forget that when you go to an interview, they're all worried about, oh, will I answer the questions right? Will I present right? Will I, how do I look? This is your opportunity to see how these people are going to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they going to sit you? Are they going to sit you in the boiler room, or are you going to have a corner office? Who are you going to be working with? Are they idiots? Are they intelligent? Are you working with a star level team? Right? Are you going to be responsible for carrying the team, or are you operating as a member of the team? Right? And the reason I'm saying this is because this is your opportunity to see what you're getting into. So when the woman says, I want you to meet my parents, this is your opportunity to check out what she's about. Right? Because we're going to go directly to his situation. Who was it that told her to divorce Tyrese? Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah. And that's that part right there. Brother Negro, let me get to you real quick. And then I'm gonna check in on the debate, family. Time be flying. Damn, they said, boy, time be flying. Brother Negro, in the case of one Tyrese here, how do you avoid getting hit by this same kind of lick, brother? You out there in Biden's backyard, a lot of chocolate sisters, but they stepping, fetching, and they ski weeing. How do you dodge getting hit? A Negro like you getting hit with the lick?
Man, you got to stick to the lineage, man. That's what I'm
Mm,
saying right now. Stick to the lineage. I'm trying not to mess with the what they call it, the immigrant class, if you get what I mean. I'm pretty much I'm okay with that. And I know that brother Tyreek, he was engaged with or involved with an immigrant woman. And I noticed that a lot of these women come with principles and values that are foreign to us, you know. Um, and and we think that because she's a big butt and a smile, or she looks like a sister, and she possibly could be a sister type of thing, all that weirdo nonsense, and we get blinded, you know, as a people. And I don't think that that's the move that we should be going. I want to look for more people in my community versus outwards these days. I don't want to get Jonathan Majors, or I don't want to end up being the Mary J. Blige, the male version of Mary J. Blige, and be a brother Tyrese and be crying every day about being hurt. You know, it's just not worth it anymore.
Cook them, call them the Mary J. Blige male version. That's disrespectful. Salute to the ego. Check it in, man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is supposed to start at 8:45. Okay, this debate. But I
Money on the
definitely,
orange man.
we going. I'm on the site waiting for the kick up. I'm not seeing too much movement right now, family. But as soon as that motherfucker jump off, you understand me,
But they got
family?
that bald headed mammy talking though. I seen that bald headed mammy. I can't think of her name right now. The one that was calling us Russian bots. That lady.
Oh,
Yeah, that lady.
Simone,
She runs
your
my.
girl Simone.
No, not Simone. No, 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 no. No, the one with the short haircut that's Congolese. I can't think of her name right now. But she's
Joy Reid.
Congolese. She ain't black. Joy Reid.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Joy
Joy
Reid.
Reid. Yes. Yes, Joy Reid. Yeah. She out
Well,
there with the pink top fade and the mammy makeup on, looking crazy.
I'm on CNN right now. Is it coming from CNN or ABC? I believe it's coming from
CNN. CNN.
yeah,
My
yeah.
people, remember my people that we were talking to on the phone. He's watching it downstairs.
Okay, so yeah, we gonna do this. We live tonight, family. We live, man. In the chat, man. Let your boy salute to the 100 plus in the building already. Y'all here for this shit. Salute. Salute to the 120 plus in here. Damn. I came in here early today. All right, we're gonna have a conversation tonight. Let's see what they on. Let's see if they getting popping. Let's see if they on that type of time tonight. Let's see what it is. Let me see. I'm not. Why they ain't let me pull up? I'm pulling up now. Let me pull up. Don't try to do your boy dirty now. Don't try to do me.
Oh, Chef, did you hear about the sit-in that they trying to push? For it saying that they're gonna do a sit-in, the Democrats, if the illegals don't vote.
Nah, I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about that.
Yo, let me get that article for you real quick. Yeah, yeah, they out here doing civil rights moves for the illegals, man.
Well, again, they they're supposed to. They're looking out for their own interests.
Oh yeah, Felly. We here. Can y'all hear your boy? Can you hear your boy?
Yes, we can hear it.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see what type of time it's gonna be. Listen, I will say this, family. Let me put this on. Let me mute this for a second, real quick. Let me mute this. I would say, Black America, what we need to look for tonight. What we have to look for tonight are deliverables for us. Don't get caught up in all of the fly shit, Black America. Don't get caught up in all the fly, catchy talk. Let's see what they're going to deliver. And of course, you know how slick and wily they are too. They'll switch some shit, make it sound like they're doing it, and they're gonna black and brown it on the back end. Watch for either one of these people doing the switcheroony, the Houdini language. All right. I'm gonna lay it out. Let me set the tone right now. And I would like to go to the panel, the brothers in here, and family, any of the family members. Matter of fact, I'm opening up the kitchen right now. Any one of the family members want to tap in right now, come and join us on this panel. Y'all join us on this panel. The kitchen is open. All right. The kitchen is open. But I want to hear from y'all that's in the chat. Right? Let me know in the chat. What are you looking? What do you need to hear from these candidates tonight? Right? Because I think they've both sold us out, well, sold us on a lot of the rhetoric and weaponizing either side. Right? But I know for me, I need to hear actual deliverables effective immediately. And when I say effective immediately, I'm talking about what are you delivering to Black America within the first 100 days? This is what I need to see, right? I also need to see those interest rates back the fuck down and actually even less. Okay. I need to see a hate crime bill. Honestly, I even need to hear them talk about a hate crime bill. Don't talk to me about no George Floyd bill, because that don't mean shit. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing about no George Floyd bill. I want to hear about what new bills you're going to introduce, how you plan to implement them, right? And what way are you okay with our community holding you as a candidate accountable for not delivering? Right? This is where I'm coming from with it. I don't want to hear no rhetoric tonight. That's me. Brother Vader, what do you need to hear from these candidates, sir, to encourage you in any way to vote for them, sir? Is it there?
I mean, you've pretty much touched on it. We're looking at reparations as number one. A hate crime bill, some kind of anti CPS legislation, some kind of immigration reform. Actually, that would be I would say 2 on my list.
Okay.
Yeah, like, we need to see the things that are important for our community being done here for me to go to any one of these 2-party candidates. These motherfuckers can't even spell reparations at this point, right?
Right.
So they haven't spelled it. They're not going to say it. They have no plans toward it. But immigration, because it's up there, I would swing. That would get me Trump's way if he were really talking hard about it. But you've seen him come up off it, and he still wants to do H-1Bs and Einstein visas, and these are our higher paying jobs. This is going to remove more Black Americans like myself from high paying jobs. H-1Bs, that cuts right into any semblance that we have in coming in tech, because these Hindus, these red dots, they gatekeep to keep us, specifically us, out of the picture. Yeah, and that's near and dear to my heart. So both of them ain't no good. She's one of them, and he wants to bring them in. So neither one of them are good in right for me right here in Cali, right where I'm at the epicenter of tech. But I don't want to hog the mic too much. I just want to say it would take a lot for me to. I would have to be surprised and shocked for me to vote for one of them.
Yes, indeed. Well, I want to salute to a couple people who just came in. First and foremost, I got to salute my sister Star, always riding with us, always supporting us and sliding with us. Salute to my sister Star in the building. Yes, indeed. Peace, sis. Always good to see you. Let me see. I see a couple other cats came in. Paula, what's happening with you? Salute for checking in. for the first time. So let's see who else is in here. Okay, we good. We good right now. Salute the brother Nico checking into the kitchen with us right now. Salute. We got our brother Nico in the building right now. Salute, brother Nico. Listen, gentlemen, let me go to my brother Juan J. Johnson. Okay, what do you need to see here? And let's say your top 5 priorities, right? Coming out of this presidential debate, what do you need to hear as far as deliverables coming from these candidates, sir?
Man, it's so late in the game. I've watched these candidates for like the last year or so. It's for me, it's not so much what they can say. You know, I do need them to speak directly to Black America. I would love really to see some type of protective class status for us, especially after seeing that whole Tyrese Hill piece, and we constantly being under the microscope and being violated by not just police, but everybody. Definitely reparations should not be on the table. It should be the table.
Right. Come on.
Not on the table. It should be the table. And if we have to change the term reparations to something else, so be it. I think sometimes reparation, the term, is a trigger to a lot of folks who may want to do something, but not with that word behind it. So, look, I think that look, we need our politicians. Well, let me stick with these two.
Yeah, let's talk about
Get the class status.
There you go.
Reparations.
Right.
And that's my 2. That's really my 2, because again, with the reparation, it would cover the healthcare. It would cover so many things, the housing. But I just need them to focus on. We have to be put in a protected class status, like everybody else. That's a no-brainer for me.
Right.
So that's my 2 right there, and everything else will fall in place.
Okay, so protective class status and reparations, 1 and 2. Okay. I could dig that. Let me go to my brother Negro. Brother Negro, today debate. What do you need to hear and see from these candidates priority wise? Your top 5 priorities that you're hoping to see delivered and answered when it comes from this debate tonight, sir.
First one will be lineage-based reparations. Second will be a hate crime bill for Negroes, Black American people. Third would be police accountability. In the guise of, I want to know how each one is going to view their police force and how they're going to enforce and enact these policies, and also how they're going to engage with us as people. Especially with the latest incidents that's been going on with the football player getting suplexed and all this other crazy nonsense and all this other nonsense that's been going on. I know I'm a little over exaggerating, but he shouldn't have been harassed the way he was harassed. The other one would be I would say, on top of the police accountability, what was the other one where they talk about with the police unions? I want to see more on that, them like solely like loosening the grip off of that. And then the anti-lynching bill. I think that's something for the ancestors. I'm gonna end it off with the rope. We need that. We need them to stop ruling that shit as a suicide. They need to be really doing some real detailed investigations on behalf of our people and looking out for our best interests. So I'm very interested in them bringing back the anti-lynching policies and stuff of that nature. That was something that was fought for historically.
Right. Salute to that. Okay, so all right, so I see where you're going with that. A more regulated state when it comes to police unions. I like that. I like that portion right there, the police union thing. I got my brother Nico on code in the kitchen right now. Brother Nico, salute to you, man, for checking in with us.
Salute, brothers.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? Same question to you, brother Nico. What are you looking to see here as far as your top 5 priorities coming from either candidate today, sir?
Top 5.
Yes, sir.
Tangibles, and respect.
Talk that, Nico. Talk that. Come on with it. God damn it. Yes, indeed. Hey, listen. I love it, y'all. This is the way we get busy in here, man. 160 plus in the building right now. We are waiting for this thing to get cranked up. It is my understanding it's supposed to jump off at the 9. Y'all, it's supposed to jump off at the 9. But I don't want to miss any, pre stuff that they may drop. So I don't want y'all, chef, you dropped the ball. Nah, I don't need to hear none of that shit tonight. 170 plus in the building right now. But family, if you're in the community kitchen chat, make sure you like, share, subscribe first and foremost. Hold on, let me check my Cash App. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Salute. Shout out to Kev, always coming through, man. Kev, when you gonna hit in the kitchen, you always be supporting, but you never come through on the panel. Salute to Kev. Let me sound the alarm for Kev. Sound the gunshot for Kev. Sound the alarm. Rock the flag. Salute to Kev, man. You be in them shadows supporting. I gotta respect. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Definitely, y'all, if you're looking to tip your chef, to tip the kitchen, keep the exhaust fans working in the community kitchen, ladies and gentlemen. Always keep the exhaust fans working in the community kitchen. Hit the Cash App. $ FTS49, family. $ FTS49 or the Venmo at From the Soil. All right. Let's keep the exhaust fans going, keep us cooking like we always do. So let's see what type of time, see if they on some type of time yet. All right, don't look like they got it. She'll be jumping off in 1 minute, I think. We're gonna be going through the bullshit. But again, y'all, a couple things I want you to keep in mind. In the future, we do have our Wasi Summit coming up. That's going to be December the 14th. So definitely keep it locked, ladies and gentlemen. December the 14th, Wasi Summit. This is another initiative that we got jumping off for our sisters to be impactful. Right? A lot of sisters who believe in supporting the patriarchy of their homes. So keep it locked with us, y'all. We'll get more details.
I love the flyer, man. You got all the master teachers up on there. Yo, pull that back up, man. Indeed, oh man, I'm in love with it, man. You got Miss Clara Huxtable up on there. Salute, man. Salute. I Sister Soldier. Oh man.
Tonight, the high-stakes showdown here in Philadelphia between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Their first face-to-face meeting in this presidential election. Their first face-to-face meeting ever.
A historic
Is it up, y'all?
Just weeks ago, President Biden withdrew.
Yo, that lady ain't black.
Donald Trump now up against a new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
Let's get it, family.
ABC News special.
Let's get it.
The most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Let's get it, family. Let's get it.
Yo, them shoulder pads is crazy on that lady.
Thank you.
Her podium is smaller, man. Her podium is smaller.
It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started.
Yo, Trump on a step stool.
Voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
There go the box hands.
I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. Mine is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump, will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. And you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out. When a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith, beliefs, to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, He will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe.
Cool.
The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D. And I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs, barely can afford to do it. And what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her
Why-
that question?
why don't you
That's
answer
the
the
problem.
question, would you
Because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question,
you
would you
could
veto?
do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board
Let's
in this
take
country.
notes, family.
Vice President
Let's take
Harris,
some notes
you were
here.
tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum
This
restrictions.
affects us
We know
right
the numbers since
directly,
then have
family.
dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the traffic. United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would
And
like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again.
Did it freeze, family? Can't hear you, Wolf.
I believe it froze.
It did.
Froze.
Don't do me this way. Don't do your why this way. Don't do your why this way. Don't do your why this way, man. Oh. Let's see. Come on now. Don't hate on your why. Don't do me this way, family. Bear with your why, y'all. Yeah. YouTube thing. Yeah. I put it on YouTube. It's definitely on YouTube. Ah. Come on.
You may have to go to the source, ABC.
All right, let me do this. Let me see what I got to do. Let me see. Yeah. Bear with your why, family. Oh, they hate it. They had to hate your why.
Yeah, try ABC, see what happens.
All right, let me see something. Let me back out of here. Let's try ABC.
Would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond.
Yeah, thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people.
That you, Brother Bader?
They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish.
Restaurant bread, stale policies. No.
Wanted to talk about earlier. So let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military. Yes. You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice President
to stop
Harris,
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation
We do have a lot
that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager.
Get the fuck out.
The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then file bankruptcy 6 times is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your response?
First of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out.
Cooked her.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet." That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just ask you.
David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
you. You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that boys, a militia. The president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge sarcastically. You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about it. An election is fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. Then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election. It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart, Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I
up.
think we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and an equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror, and they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, we are covering this damn thing. It is a lot to uncover here. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, first and foremost, I just want to thank all of y'all for checking in. Over 560 of y'all in the building and climbing. Very clear. If you're here for the first time, I'm your host, Chef C. This is on their next podcast. We got the brothers in here, Brother Vader, my brother Lone Wolf Firearms, Juan J. Johnson, okay, and my brother Negro in the building. Of course, we got y'all checked in with us right now. Listen, let's have a conversation, family. Let's have a quick conversation in the mission. Brother Juan J. Johnson, sir, what are you taking from this first quarter of the debate, sir? What is your take on it?
Well, again, I think that the folks who have worked with Kamala, they did a good job. She's been coached up, and she's been. I've checked out when they correct her. Well, not correct her, but they mention certain things. That's a cue for her to double down on what they've said. So she's been coached real well. I got to give her that, and she's not looking like the weak Kamala that I was thought I would see. So she's doing the thing. I think she's holding her own. I mean, look at it. The bar was set so low for her. Okay, so but she's holding her own. I'll give her that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Brother Vader, sir, what are you seeing so far? Are you feeling swayed in a different direction based off how Kamala's been conducting herself, sir? Or you see it's more bullshit still out here? What say you, brother?
A little of both. I'm still seeing bullshit. I'm still seeing drunk and maybe with the edge taken off with a little ski wee. You know, yeah, but yeah, I think she's doing better than I thought she would do, but that's not. But there was a very low bar to achieve that.
Very low bar.
Right. Salute to our brother Vader. My brother Negro, are you in there, sir? You are in Biden's backyard, brother. Brother Negro, what have you seen? Are you encouraged? Are you feeling influenced in any different direction? What say you, brother Negro? Are you in the building, sir? Brother Negro, probably dropped the sword out there. He in Biden's backyard, ladies and gentlemen. So they definitely be snatching them. But as far as what I've seen, I am actually a little bit surprised Kamala has held her own. However, her number one go-to weapon has been the fear-mongering, y'all.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
When she gets a little cornered, she then goes to the fear-mongering instead of giving me more detail. I need details of what you actually plan to do, lady. Okay? Don't tell me about how whatever's impacting the country and the Americans, how terrible it is. That's not a solution. Okay. However, her poise, the way she's conducting herself in this debate thus far, I am semi-impressed. I'm not gonna hold nobody. Because with this, I like to be a little objective. Now, do I give a fuck about any one of these candidates? I'm here to tell you I don't. Does that even mean that I'm gonna even consider voting for Kamala? No, I'm not. She's done too much on the books for me to ignore. And even right now, again, let's never forget, we are still presently in the Biden-Harris administration. And when I take a look at our communities around the country, it is very hard for me to ignore, let alone say that they have nothing to account for when it comes to the conditions with which we are living in now. So that's where I'm coming from.
One of the biggest things, again, she's just not accountable, man. This whole administration not accountable, man. We're real time having challenges with the groceries, with the gas, with employment. I mean, this right now, and she's not owning it. She's not owning it, man. She's deflecting. I mean, she's a super deflector now. I give her that.
Super deflector.
Super deflector.
Looks like we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Though let's get back into this part, y'all. Salute to everybody that's checked in. Over 600 plus in the building. Back to action.
Of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, And what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up.
Cool.
Just to clarify the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war? Yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war, because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something.
Cool.
She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen, he's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, We had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page.
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
Lindsay, go ahead.
President
No,
Trump, the former
Trump-
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I
going
just need
to move
respond
on, Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this is
multiple
now
times.
your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. as it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice President Harris,
in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot
She made
of
a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable, but we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers, and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, let me say a quick salute to the 760 plus in the building with us right now. All right. This is, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, again, we're looking at a lot of the trick bag. First and foremost, what I have seen from Kamala Harris is a combination of three things they have told her to go back to. If it's crazy, always go back to these things: the fear mongering, the gaslighting, okay, and the shaming. Outside of that, she has nothing else. Okay, but listen, I'm gonna say this though: she does look better than Biden. Okay, and I think it's off sheer composure, right? Not because she may have dropped some kind of, earth-shaking facts or whatever it is. She hasn't done that for me. However, this is more of actually, it's a lot less catty than the first debate was. So I am curious to see how she kind of bring it all the way home at the end of this one, if she kind of swings for the fences on the latter end, or if she's going to retain this kind of posture through the remaining of the debate. So what's been going through your mind, brother Juan J. Johnson, man? What's your interpretation of this second half?
I think that she has satisfied her base. She didn't lose it tonight. She actually, she can hold her own, because many of us were wondering, can she hold her own in any debate? Can she even not laugh? I don't call it a laugh. I call it a cackle. She's a cackle.
Right.
Okay. But for her base, I think that she did just enough, because they've never really had information. It's always, joy and happiness, new forging forward, new generation. So I think that she's actually did enough for her base. The folks who really supporting her, they have enough memes and videos and statements that they can just push out there to people. Yeah, but she ain't said nothing. But she didn't have to say nothing. Just don't lose it. She was like, just don't lose it. Okay.
Don't right. Y'all ever hear the saying from the old teacher back in the day? Say, when you get into my classroom, I'm gonna start you out with an A. It's your job to keep it. And that is what Kamala is doing. She is the equivalent for all the football people. She's a ball manager. She's a field manager. She's not the one to shake shit up. She's the one that's gotta lean into the defense in order to get the W for y'all. So the propaganda is the defense in Kamala's case, ladies and gentlemen. The propaganda machine, the fake joy, the excitement, etc. That is Kamala's defense. And they told her, listen, just keep working what we've been putting out there. Don't get brand new. Don't try no fly shit. Stick to what we've always done. And that ensures that particular foundation of people that she has?
I think she's been studying Olivia Pope. Kerry
There
Washington.
you go. Come on with it. Come on with it.
I think when you look at her mannerisms, you can tell that she's been studying some Olivia Pope. She's been studying Kerry Washington. She's been studying those. What was the name of that? What was it called?
How to Get Away with Murder. Viola Davis. It's a bunch of Shonda Rhimes. It's a lot of Shonda Rhimes shit going on right now.
Yeah. I saw that. I see that. A lot of Shonda Rhimes going on right now.
Yeah. So I will say this, gentlemen and ladies, we are coming back here. This is the final round. Let's see what type of time they on.
And Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. Started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
You just step in their necks.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. I want to send a massive salute to the 810 plus who checked in with us tonight. All right. I want to get some of the last remarks from the brothers that's in here right now. You know, and I'm going to leave y'all to y'all thoughts, family. We might spin the block back later this week. But yeah, still numbers is going up. 820 plus in the building. 820 of you Negroes.
Say we stay. We need to stay for like 10 more minutes. Look,
man. Brother Wolf, talk to me, man. Your interpretation. I took a couple notes. I hope the family in the chat, the community kitchen chat, y'all got some notes. If y'all want to come into the kitchen, matter of fact, let me drop the link. The kitchen is open now, y'all. The kitchen is open. Let me drop this link. Y'all on that type of time. All right, Brother Wolf, from this presidential debate, sir, what are you taking away? Are you encouraged about either candidate? What say you, sir?
Again, I am encouraged about what I saw, what I heard. Again, if you want the specifics and you can get past some of the rhetoric, then you would lean towards Trump. If you wanted, pivoting, you would listen to Kamala. I mean, it's just that clear. It took her 2 or 3 months to get the courage to be looking presidential, if that's what you want to say it. She looked presidential. But we still don't have no substance from her. There's nothing on her website still, and whoever was in her right ear with her hair that would move, that was a good job. That was a great job. I like that. Somebody was in her ear that whole time, But I'm not moved by Kamala. I'm not sold on Trump either. I mean, but I'm looking at both of them. But still, I ain't. Look, if push come to shove, I'll vote for my damn self again.
Come on.
Okay, because we ain't hear nothing about black folks. We hear about reparations. We didn't hear about a protective class status. Come on. We didn't. There was nothing on tape about black folks.
That's my point. There we go. 840 plus in the building. We didn't hear a damn thing about Negroes tonight.
That's right.
Let's be very clear about that, ladies and gentlemen. Not one thing about us, let alone any specifics or details regarding us. Okay. We heard tonight some of the rhetoric, the jabs, the theater, the gaslighting, the shaming, the fear mongering. We heard that tonight, but we did not hear anything specifically for us. Okay. So when you leave here tonight, I mean, again, I'm with Brother Wolf on this. 850 plus in the building. I am not encouraged in either direction. Okay. Because again, yes, immigration is a major problem for us right now. But we're looking at several other problems that are astronomical when it comes to our communities, and none of them spoke to those issues, specifically the issues plaguing Black America.
Facts.
Right? So again, like family, y'all in here, it's y'all in this motherfucker clearly. 850 plus of y'all. How y'all feeling about this? Because I'm telling you right now, it was a lot of them. For me, they both held the line. Honestly,
Well, you know
it
what?
wasn't nothing too strong in either direction. You know. But go ahead, brother Wolf.
I think one of the reasons why other ethnicities don't have to ask for stuff because they get it automatically. This is why we Black Americans ask for specifics because we're seeing everybody else getting the tangibles. So don't just treat this this debate as just a debate who sounds the best. Other nationalities don't have to ask because they're already getting it. We ask because we're not getting it. We're not even on the radar, except for a little study. Right. No, we need to be a protective class off the break, period. Right. We need our restitution. Like the same restitution they're giving to the illegals that's coming here and they get in the bag for free. Okay? So although I heard the debate, but I didn't hear the debate.
Right.
On both sides. You know?
All right. Well, you know what? And Brother Vader, salute to the 880 plus in here. Damn. Brother Vader, talk to me, man. I mean, what energy did you get from this? Especially that bust down is from your neck of the woods.
You know, at the last break, we were talking about how she's not failing, and I agree with that assessment. She's not failing, but you know, she was talking a little bit smoother, but the thing is she was relying a lot on lies. You know, we've seen this on these streets where people will say shit and they hope that you don't think about it. They hope that you don't look it up. So when she says things like, "Oh, our oil output production is the greatest ever," yeah, but who uncapped them drills and who got them pipelines moving? Because that's not what the other party was talking about, right? So she's just outwardly lying, and then even in this last segment, right? She's saying she's the candidate who cares and is going to check to see if we're okay because she serves the people. Well, do the people in Colorado feel like that?
Come on.
Do the people in New York feel like that? You know, do the people that are getting raped by these people that border jump, do they feel like that? Are they okay? You know, and then what about all these floor benefits that they're giving away to these people while they're just leaving the Black American public just out there to dry, right? And so neither one of the candidates did the Vicky Dillard talk black to me, right? Neither one of them did that. And I said at the beginning of this that the smart money would at least play to them battleground states. And I haven't seen that. So I think actually Trump dropped the ball a little bit there, but he did speak to Colorado and New York, right? Because he said they're letting in the worst, and those countries gave them the her to stick in our country, right? So he spoke a little bit to what we're feeling, but I didn't hear enough about what we want as a Black community from either candidate. So I'm kind of still just sitting in the middle there, like yourself, Chef.
No doubt, Brother Vader. And that's really the sentiment for me. I got nothing but theater from this debate as far as I'm concerned. I got theater and just rhetoric. And that does nothing for me to feel encouraged by either candidate moving forward. And that's just me keeping it a buck. Black America needs to hear specifics.
Facts. We deserve specifics.
Okay.
Okay.
We need details, and we don't need any more emotionalisms. We don't need no more gaslighting. We don't need no more hurry up and wait talk. And we don't need no more we are the fucking world talk.
How many people are in the room right now, Chef, Brother Chef? How many people are in the room right now?
901 right now.
901 Black Americans. Not even one heard her say when she was asked directly that she's Black.
Well,
they
listen,
put that question right down there on the table, and she
I'm
left
gonna
it.
say this. I'm sure the majority of the audience is Black Americans, but I know we got some others sprinkled in here, tucked away. But I will say this again: she never. See, there's one thing when somebody says to another Black American that you ain't Black or are you Black. That information is freely volunteered and shared. When somebody finds every clever way to sidestep the acknowledgement of it, if you're that person, that's a dangerous woman as far as I'm concerned.
Facts.
Okay. Yeah, I think we take the giggles and the yuck and a little lightly. Kamala to me is probably one of the most dangerous candidates we have ever come across because she's foxy. She's foxy, y'all. And she's wily. And she's using some of that slick whole culture of manipulation and tricking to get by shit in public. Questions, statements, whatever. She ain't no, listen, I'm gonna tell you straight like this. She not no slouch, y'all. She's not no slouch, and she's very teachable when it comes to conniving and trickery. She's teachable as hell. They got probably 3-4 Olivia Popes in the back working with this chick. 3-4 of them. Okay? Because again, they know that, okay, first and foremost, don't allow Kamala to think on her own ever. And damn sure don't allow that shit to come out in real time. We better control her like the puppet she is. So I can guarantee you, for all my scandal lovers, some part of that gladiator team was in her ear the entire debate. Okay? We have to tread carefully because one, Kamala tells us what she's going to do.
Yes, she does.
Okay. And if you caught the previous broadcast, she told us that First Amendment shit is on the table. She get in office.
When she said that she did not say she's gonna take the guns, I got the receipts.
Come on.
She's coming for the gun. She's already said.
She already said it.
She's gonna do an executive order about the guns. Okay. She will have no problem in implementing the National Guard or the feds to go door to door or deputizing folks who become marshals to get those guns.
So, Brother Wolf.
Yeah.
Did you agree she will say something and hope that you don't check?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But that's it. Yeah. Yeah. That's her. Man, look. When I said, look, man, she's good. And she's shrewd.
Shrewd in the mother.
Very shrewd. You don't get where she is right now, not being somewhat ruthless.
You can't slick a can of oil like that. Not that one. Not that one.
I don't sleep on Kamala Harris because I kind of see myself.
Oh, okay. Go there, brother. What? Huh?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, yeah. I gotta see myself. Yeah, it's pleasant, hospitable, cordial, but at the same time ready to take you out. That's her.
He said from one canine to another.
Yeah. I
From
mean, I have to be honest with what I see, and I got to let the viewers know that you don't get to this place where you are wanting the keys to a Bentley. America is like a Rolls Royce, man. Okay, and she wants the key. She wants to drive this car. This is correction. This is not a car. This is an automobile. America is an automobile. Think about the
it's
best
the
car.
ultimate driving
Yes,
machine.
and she want those keys. I don't blame her for wanting these keys.
Come on.
And she's gonna do everything she can to get it, even if it means look at you for straight face and lying in your face.
Straight to your face. Yeah, yeah. And then follow it one of the with the hyena laugh on you.
Right.
Hyena laugh you right to the grave.
And look,
Listen.
I'm not a Trump supporter like that either. I'm independent. Be very clear. I am independent. Okay. But at least with Trump, he's telling you something. And mind you, he was a president for 4 years. He ain't just guessing. But she has been on the job training. She's been OJT for the last 3 years because Biden ain't been running this place
And still bad at it.
and still terrible at it. Okay, if we keep it 100.
Right. Well, brother Vader, I mean, listen, sir. We heard her talk about. I got my notes here. Let me go to some of my notes real quick as we slowly get ready to break this thing down.
Yeah, she said she was a DA and she was a AG and she was a senator and with no accomplishments for this community. In fact, she's done quite the opposite. So
well, brother Vader, fill me on this. I don't know, and y'all help me out. 900 plus in here. When have you ever heard of Kamala being in the building during the insurrection until tonight? I never heard it prior.
So that was a question that I really wanted her to answer because I want to know how she really felt. And then I want to know what she'd really say. Right. I want to know, were you scared? If you were in that
brother
building.
Vader, what is why I say this, brother Vader? Listen, we see how low she gets with this. And if this was in her bag, why hasn't she pulled it sooner? Right? Like again, I'm looking at all of this shit and I'm like, when I heard her say, I was in there when all of this was going on, I said cap. Because again, anything on that side, they would have used it already to weaponize. But you bring it out in this presidential debate. Come on, somebody got to show Chef C the receipts of her having said or mentioned her being in the White House on January 6th and talking about her experience during that time. I haven't seen it.
She fucked up because she's got to really say, because if she was scared, she's not fit to be president, right? Because she's got to have it under control, and which means she did not take that J6 seriously. Right. And if she wasn't scared, it's because she wasn't taking it seriously, right? So she's either presidential or she's not serious, right?
Right. Well, let's also go here with it, y'all. She also said in this conversation that she is going to protect women's rights to choose what they want to do with their body. She said government should have no place in telling women what they do with their bodies. But should I remind the family? Let's remind the family, since we forget sometime. We are still talking about the very current administration that mandated those vaccines, right? Didn't they tell you that their patience was running thin? Biden Harris administration?
Mm-hmm.
And that if you don't get this shit in you, you're not going to be allowed to feed your family. What happened to this? Government shouldn't have the right to tell citizens what to do with their bodies. She's lying right there in front of everybody. Come on, man. Y'all remember that? Remember, Biden said our patience is running thin. That's what he said. How quickly we forget. But now she's telling you that she is the defender of your rights to do as you please with your body. Diabolical Jezebel. So I just wanted to make sure we brought that back, y'all, because she kind of glazed over it real quick.
There's literally nothing she can do about overturning Roe v. Wade, unless she's going to add 3 or 4 more, or sorry, 2 or 4 more judges that are going to somehow, you know what I'm saying? There's literally nothing she can do. So all this bluster about Roe v. Wade and stuff, it's just for her to garner some kind of feminist vote, but it doesn't even exist. There's absolutely nothing she can do, right? And so that's where that's the fear mongering, and she hopes that people don't understand this. She's literally insulting the female demographic in this country. She's insulting their intelligence, right? And that's all that she has in her bag of tricks is deception, which over time she has developed. She has honed that skill, being what she is in this political arena, right? You look at how she elevated to her position to her stations in life, and we know what she is and how she got there, and it's pure deception.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this. Let me say this again. She mentioned, y'all, that they have a plan for 3 million homes. They plan to build 3 million homes. Where y'all think though? Who you think those homes are going to?
Not only who do we think they're going to, but why is there a home shortage? Could it be because we flooded the country with people that need homes?
Come on.
You created this crisis, and then now you want us to think that you're going to solve it? Right. No. You think you can do only stuff for black people? No.
No.
You're gonna solve your own. You're gonna solve the problem you created? No.
Well, here's what we also want to simplify, because we ain't got to overcomplicate this.
Mm-hmm.
All the crazy atrocities that are taking place right now, I make life simple. She is still the current sitting VP. You ain't got to say nothing else to me. When life get that simple, there's nothing else to say. She's not on the outside looking in. She's on the inside looking out and burning shit down.
Doc, I would dare say she's been calling the shots for the last couple of years. I mean, they hid this man in the basement for the last 3 years. And when they finally exposed him at the podium on the debate, everybody knew that he wasn't calling the shots. She's been calling the shots with his team. It's been a joint effort. Okay? So she's going to have to take that L. She got to own the state of this country over the last 3 years. Because we know Biden ain't calling nothing but for somebody to take him to the bathroom. okay, or for some ice cream.
You know, she has completely skirted and skated that issue. You
Yeah.
know, when you look at what's happening out here in Cali and all the games that are being played, like bypassing the primary, right?
Mhm.
Even if you didn't believe, um, even if you didn't believe that she's been in charge the last 3 years, like everybody knows that she gamified not having to face the primaries. Everybody knows that she and Obama threatened to 25th Amendment him to take the keys of this campaign from Joe Biden, right? Bypassing the primary, all of that a game that she executed on, right? And so the people, have been cheated out of a primary. The people. So this is a woman who will lie to your face, steal what you got. And she and in fact, I'm talking to the right person, brother Juan. I know I'm talking to the right person. This is a blessing right here. Isn't there some kind of passage in the Bible, something about when parents split and one parent want to cut the baby in half and the other parent is just like, no, just let's keep the baby alive. You got it.
Yeah.
Right? Like she will cut the baby in half. You know what I'm saying? Like she's proven that, like she will bypass the democratic the process, and she will import and destabilize this country just to cling to some kind of edge vote power. She'll import votes, but destabilize the country to do it. She'll cut the baby in half
Mhm.
just to hold on to that party's power. Can you cook on that? I know there's a biblical reference in there somewhere.
Yeah, there was a passage in the Old Testament where it was a dispute over the baby, and one of the women said, "Well, just cut him in half." Okay, and the king said basically, "Well, I know who the mother of that child is because a real mother wouldn't want the baby cut in half." Because the other mother said, "No, just go and take the baby." That's how you know who's the real mother, because ain't no mother want to kill her own child. So yeah, it's in the scriptures.
And then she roll up in a or abortion van. So she just showed she'll cut any baby in half. Your baby, my baby, our baby. She'll cut the country in half.
But if you think about it, never in the history of this nation they had a mobile vasectomy and abortion van 2 blocks away from the convention, and nobody was in an uproar about it. Well, we had certain folks who was concerned, but this came from her. This came from the top. You can't have a vasectomy and a abortion automobile there if it didn't come from her. That's her convention. That was her coronation. That was her authorization. And you wonder why this country is again going down. We don't have the respect for the life. Okay. And so I'm not surprised, man. I mean, again, this woman is she's a very dangerous woman. I mean, but you got to be dangerous to be the president. You got to be almost cold to be a president, because you're going to make decisions about people's lives. Remember, they called Barack the Drone Ranger because he's dropped so many damn bombs, at least 20,000 bombs in his history. Killed a lot of people. Both of them going to have blood on the hands. If you're going to do this, you're going to have blood on the hands. That's why I say I can see myself in it. Oh yeah, because you got to be willing to do the things nobody else want to do, and be unapologetic when you do it.
And that's the bubble fact. And you know what? Just a quick reminder, real quick for everybody. Real quick reminder. I don't want to hold y'all too much longer. Just a little quick reminder. Yeah. This for y'all. Just fair use.
Lieutenant Media, as you see directly behind me, is the Planned Parenthood Mobile Health Clinic that drove from Missouri to Chicago to be here to provide free vasectomies and abortions for women that wanted to do so. Right now, we're about a half a mile away from the DNC Convention Center that's being held at. And within the first day of the announcement, every single appointment was booked out. They're doing this for 2 days, today the 19th and tomorrow the 20th, but everything is completely booked out. So here you go in the flesh. They will be providing free abortions and vasectomies to attendants of the DNC that is right down the street.
Wow.
So that's the America y'all looking forward to. Vasectomy mobile on 20s sitting outside your convention center.
On Dubs. Wow.
Ready to do a ritual. But again, y'all, she's giving women a choice. Do we understand this? She's giving them a choice to choose.
And we can't forget. Well, you can finish your point. Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, go ahead, brother Wolf. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to go to the Ukraine war piece. I mean, we've been funding this war, man, for like we're like almost 300 billion in. They're not doing nothing to stop this war. They're trying to get more money for the war at the expense of our American lives, at the expense of our neighborhoods. When I tell you, I can't fathom $34 trillion. I just can't fathom. But we got people in government who who don't even feel bad about turning over $34 trillion deficit to their own children. And they are in the White House right now. She's in it right now. The war. Just keep adding to the debt. And I'm not excusing Trump, because Trump added about $7 billion himself.
Come on.
Correction, trillion himself. He is not I would say the best option, but neither one of them. If I had my choice, I wouldn't. Okay. Like I said, I'm an independent.
They've already exceeded Trump, and they're not even done with their term yet. So,
well, peep this. Let me play this other clip for y'all as they snip and clip them and send them on about their day. Gave her a little goodie bag.
It's like, why just not create the right seats? All they had to do was increase the zone where the journalists could work and set the seats back a little further, and then everyone would have been.
Ain't that some shit for y'all?
Star said black church members walk right past it while sporting Kamala hats, shirts, and pins. Facts, Sister Star. Facts.
and brother Juan, those parishioners and whatnot, they walked over baby carcasses.
Shit. Parishioners walking over baby carcasses.
So watch this. Supposed to be defenders of the faith. Apologetics. You defend the faith, meaning, look, you go against abortion. Okay? You go against the poverty. You support the widows and the childless, the motherless, the fatherless. Man, I don't know how these brothers in these churches do it, man. Put all their collateral behind somebody who's telling you, I'm not with you. I'm against you and what you believe. It's almost like they've exalted her over the scriptures, over what's right. And look,
Man, okay.
I'm not a conservative or liberal. I'm just a truth teller. Okay? And the truth is this. I'm not on board with abortion. The truth is this. I want you to look out for the fatherless. We send our children to war and the dads don't come back. So somebody has to look out for the fatherless, the widows. This is what we do. I'm not seeing on her side that they're looking out for the widows. I mean, come on, man. And she ain't no negotiator. I mean, man, she's in the White House right now. And it's worst. We're in bad shape right now.
Well, you know what? I want to switch the speed up and then we're going to get out of here. 970 plus in the building. Salute to y'all. If you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe. Okay. Make sure you also hit that like button. You know what I mean? We're going to be winding it down. But I want to go to this Tariq portion. You, Brother Juan J. Johnson, sir, being a man of the cloth at one point, right? We're talking about 27 years, almost 30 years in the field. Okay. Now, this Tariq accident, and listen, the understanding is that both sides are pro cop. Okay. Help me if I'm wrong here, but it's my understanding that both sides, Kamala and Donald Trump, are pro police enforcement. Now, they're listen, I'm going to tell you straight like this, y'all. There needs to be an arm or a sector in our society that helps reinforce order, because without that, it's chaos. However, there is a way to reinforce that very order. But in the case of Tariq Hill, a football player for the Dolphins, this one is a little questionable as far as the way they handled this young man. So let's check it out. Fair use.
Why you have it up? Don't knock on my window like that. Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here. That way you can lower it and talk to you. Just get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm gonna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do. Keep it down. Hey, keep your window down. Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 Damn. What part of brother doing this? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're a little fucking confused. I'm getting out, bro. Too late. Too late. All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro. We are. We will. Good, bro. It is good. Hey. Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. Stop crying, bro.
Now, really quickly here, excessive force. Would you agree with that position, Brother Juan J. Johnson? Almost 30 years in the business, law enforcement. Were they out of order in this situation here?
Absolutely. They was 100% right and 100% wrong. Just like Tyrese, he was 100% right and wrong. Look, you know, when they pulled him over, he was probably going 20 miles over the speed limit. We're talking about 60 miles per hour and maybe a construction zone. When they pulled him over, see, it's multiple cameras, multiple videos. They eventually found out who he was before they pulled him out the car. You ain't seen that video. So they knew that was Tyrese. And they went on a power trip. As long as, watch this, when they pulled him over, he said seatbelt. How you even see the seatbelt and those smoked out windows? Those are smoked out tinted windows. You ain't see no seatbelt.
Yeah, 5%ers. That's a fact.
Okay, you didn't see no seatbelt. Now you saw the seatbelt wasn't on when he put that window down. When he gave that ID, the police officer, he should just went back to there and gave a ticket. He could have put it back up. He wouldn't bring no law. He was not a threat. Was he a threat? He wasn't. But when he brought the window down and cracked it so they can just see his eyes enough, that's all he had to do. There's no law in the books that says you got to keep your window down. I know about officer safety, but he'd already, man, look, 100% right, 100% wrong. Did they have to snatch him out? They could do it for officer safety. Did they have to put him on the ground? No, they didn't, because he was already handcuffed. There was no reason to put him on the ground. That's just one of those, I'm trying to impose my will on you now. This whole traffic stop, it's a case study right now on what to do and what not to do. I'm not saying that Tyrese was wrong or right. I'm saying he could have handled it differently. But him delaying the process of giving his information, that's a traffic stop. We see it all the time in other communities who don't even give that much respect to the police. Okay? So I'm thinking it's a whole lot there in a short amount of time. But nah, Tyrese right now, look, that whole thing was wrong. And they had an order. And again, when they realized who he was, well, it only makes sense if he's going to the game. He could be running late. And you know who he is. You know it's the first game of the year. You know he's the star player. Give him the violation and let him go. Nah, they wanted something else. They wanted something else. They wanted to show, you know what? We run things. You do what I say do. Okay? They was on a power trip. There was no logical explanation that I can see with my police eyes that they had to snatch him out of the car, put the cuffs on him, and then again force him to the ground. For what? For what? Make it make sense to me. It's a power trip. And I'm looking at the police officers like, hold up, why your arms are covered in like 85-degree weather?
Come on,
Okay?
Wolf.
I'm looking at you're all tatted in your neck, you're all tatted on your arms. What you covering up? Is this a little gang or something? Huh? You had one with watch this. The initiating officer, he wasn't even the one who threw Tariq on the ground. It was the third officer that came in. You had the first one who was a primary, the secondary, and then the third one came. It was the third one that came in, the big, tall, tattooed up, black shirt on. He was the aggressor. Matter of fact, it's almost like the other ones were scared of him.
Right.
But I'm going to land this plane with that. This is a whole nother conversation right here.
Well, Brother Vader, off your observation, I could bring the other clip up, but I want to eventually get to this. Salute to the 990 plus in here. Let's get the likes up, family. Let's get this thing over 1,000 people in here on the end. Yeah. Brother Vader, would you say this is a case of excessive force, sir?
In my estimation, it is. I defer to Brother Juan and his expertise, but in my estimation, there was no need for him to get out of the car. And I've always advocated requesting that the sergeant come down immediately. Right. Ask him, I want your supervisor to come down here to make sure everything happens the way it's supposed to. Right. Make sure you have, I don't want to hear him on the radio. I want him down here. And from what I understand, it's your right to request that. And it is to make sure that everything goes by the book. Right. So because the supervisor is not going to sign off on fuck shit. Right. He's not going to let bullshit happen so that he catch strays for some dummy wants to do at a lower level. Right. So If I'm, and I know it would have taken longer, but once you know you're being hemmed up and they want to hem you up, it just go ahead and close your window and say, get your supervisor down here. I'll call 911 while you call. We can both call, make sure he gets down here.
Right.
You know,
Well, I will say this, man. Listen, I'll play this clip, right? I'll play this clip, and then I'll give my interpretation of the events. But let's go ahead and play this, and make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Salute to everybody that's still in here with us, and we're gonna make it make sense because, again, like I said, both of the two candidates we just spent 2 hours plus watching are pro-police candidates. Okay, each having their own different position with which they want to support the blue. Okay. However, even in tonight's debate, I did not hear anything that suggests the steps that they would take in order to prevent these kind of incidents from happening, since they're pro-blue candidates. They are pro-blue candidates, aka police candidates. So I didn't hear anything about, de-escalating tactics and tools that they hope to implement during their administrations. So let's go ahead and play this clip, y'all, and salute to the 1,000+ in the building right now. Okay, let's go ahead and play this clip. Fair use.
And I saw that you said if you weren't Tyreek Hill, that you feared this could have ended a lot.
Now, again, real quickly, this is Tyreek Hill, and I believe it's his lawyer on the opposite side, y'all. But they're recapping the incident, and I just want the family to let me know. Is this the right kind of energy y'all want to see from a cat that just got thrown on the ground unjustly, allegedly? I mean, it was a little soft shoe for me, but I ain't gonna suggest nothing. Y'all peep it and you let me know. Do you believe this is the appropriate way to handle or respond to that particular aggression or environment?
A lot differently. What do you think could have happened?
Yeah, so the crazy part about it is I hate talking like this, man, but because I have a kid fan base. But the reality of it is, it's the truth. If I wasn't Tyreek Hill, worst case scenario, we would have had a different article. Tyreek Hill, got shot in front of Hard Rock Stadium, or that's worst case scenario. Or Tyreek Hill, put in handcuffs and taken in and booked, but it's crazy that, me and my family had to go through this, so.
And I saw that you said if you weren't Tyreek Hill, that you feared this could have ended a lot differently. What do you think could have happened?
Yeah, so the crazy part about it is like this, man, but because I have a kid fan base. But the reality of it is, it's the truth. If I wasn't Tyreek Hill, worst case scenario, we would have had a different article. Tyreek Hill, got shot in front of Hard Rock Stadium, or that's worst case scenario. Or Tyreek Hill, put in handcuffs and taken in and booked, but it's crazy that, me and my family had to go through this,
I gotta say something.
And I saw that you said if you weren't Tyreek Hill, that you feared this could have ended a lot differently.
All right. So yeah, Brother Vader, talk to me, man. In this particular case here, first and foremost, that's not enough for a cat like me. Okay, you throw me on the ground, you aggressively pull me out my vehicle. I don't think that's enough. But what's on your mind, Brother Vader, when it comes to this situation? And salute to the 1,010+ in the building right now.
I might sound funny. I'm just coming off the hip and I don't know how I'm going to sound, but if you could put back on the screen that photo just as you had it paused right there. That's Tyreek Hill, and then obviously the interviewer, and then I assume that is his attorney.
Correct.
His attorney. And if I am a team that has an investment in this man, he's he's to what, tens of millions, hundreds of millions contract, right? If I want to see some small hat attorneys out there from the team, from the NFL. This man is a money earner for a franchise, right? And if he's gonna, just stick his two-bit attorney, whoever this guy, I don't know this guy. Who is that guy? I don't recognize him, but I know when I see 6 and 9 suited small hats, then I know they mean business, right? And it's on Tyreek to make that case to his employers. Hey, they was on the ground damaging my arms, damaging my legs and shit. I heard him say, "You hurting my arm," or some shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, like they're not serious. This is publicity right here. They're not serious.
Well, Brother Vader, go ahead, Brother Juan. Go ahead.
When I see him protecting the bag. See, this thing can go so many different ways. He has to be very skillful in what he needs to say, because he's not just speaking to his team. He got a real national audience and maybe a global audience. He has to protect the bag right now. That bag is important right now, because this is far from being over. We don't know what type of extenuating consequences or that could have taken place with his arm or his leg, although he may have scored a couple of TDs during the game, but that adrenaline was up, man. It's like a person in a car accident. You get that whiplash within 5 days. You may not get it the first day, second day, but you may feel it by the end of the week. We don't know what type of injuries that he may have got during that whole detainment. He was crying about his leg. I just got my knees, man. I just had a surgery. Okay. But I saw that video. I saw him just trying to protect that bag. He's trying to come out this thing unscathed, because again, we talking about, possible him being let go, or is he a cancer, or do we want to take on this headache?
I mean, the thing is whatever team he's on, or whatever, not whatever team, but whatever happens to his leg, if it goes bad, right, that's 72 million guarantee in his contract. They don't want to protect their investment for 72 million because he's worth more than that. If they're willing to guarantee this man 72 million, then they're going to make 4 times that. They're going to make 280 off of him, right? So I think I understand that he's trying to protect his bag, and I do understand that they're under contract to act a certain way. But at some point, man, you got to stand. You got to go back to your union and be like, when this kind of shit happens, are you in it for us, or are you in it for you? Well, we know who you're in it for, but you're gonna have to pay more, right? You're gonna have to pay more, because maybe he's worth double if he has to defend himself. Maybe instead of 120 million contract, maybe he needs to be signing 240 million contracts if he's got to indemnify himself, right? Just for some dumb cop. Yeah, like that attorney don't look like he's protecting 72 million to me. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this, gentlemen. And salute to the shit, to the 1,030 in them motherfucker. Damn. We're gonna be shutting it down though in 5. I need to get the fuck out of here. But I want to say this, gentlemen. Along with police brutality, again, neither candidate presenting an alternative or even a solution to combat decades worth of police brutality, a history of that. in our communities. So I don't see any progress, but niggas nowadays are still concerned about who's performing at the Super Bowl. Okay, getting outraged, and Juvenile is outraged because Jay-Z's chess move don't seem to be working the way they think it should be working out. Because Lil Wayne is supposed to be the one performing at a Super Bowl. Okay, and this is what niggas is prioritizing. So let's peep this here.
So everybody want me to speak on this Super Bowl situation. Look,
no, they don't.
I'm mad about the situation just like y'all, man. But my hatred is toward the NFL. Not really the people that book the halftime show. I'm mad at the people that hired the motherfuckers that booked the halftime show. I feel like y'all should step in. Y'all done threw 11 Super Bowls in New Orleans, man. Y'all have yet to put a hip hop artist from New Orleans on the damn Super Bowl. Sure, y'all have put artists on the Super Bowl back in the days. Al Hurt and the list goes on. Not too many. I feel like every time y'all come here, y'all should have somebody from our city on the shit. But this time it really hit hard when you don't have Lil Wayne on the show. I don't see how the fuck y'all don't have Lil Wayne doing the halftime show. Somebody.
You know what? Hold on, Juvenile. let me say this, Juvenile. You are Mr. Vax that thing up. Okay, you are gonna forever be in my eyes, Mr. Vax that thing up. You are no different than this diabolical party that is the Democratic Party. They told you to get out there and take the classic and ruin that fucking classic to get folks to pop something in their arms against their will. All right?
And kill them.
And get them out the way. And now you supposed to be thinking you taking up for your city when you tried to poison your city? Get the fuck out of here. You poisoned your city. And now you think you taking up for them because you don't get to have your little artist friend out there at a Super Bowl? Get the fuck out my face. Nobody trying to hear none of this righteous Negro talk. Hypocrite Negro, chase the bag Negro talk. Yeah. You're Mr. Vax that thing up. What you playing? Want you vax that thing up? That's you. Ain't nobody take you serious, man. This is why I say I got but this is the shit that we're dealing with here. We got people talking about protecting women's rights. How you gonna protect a woman's rights when even their own kind, like this nigga here, is telling her, listen, I know you don't really want to put that thing in your arm, but what you playing? Want you vax that thing up?
I think what gets me with this is the entitlement. I don't know where that comes from, that you would think that the NFL is concerned about what you want. The NFL is concerned about business.
Period.
Who's more marketable right now? Not what somebody has done for a city. I mean, but just the entitlement for me. I'm like, I don't understand. Why do you think the NFL cares anything about what your opinion is?
Right. Come on.
It doesn't make sense to me that a lot of people are up in arms because somebody didn't get picked for a Super Bowl show that does nothing for our communities but just take out the resources. I mean, I've been around stadiums all my life. They got the dang old RFK right around the corner, and it does nothing for the community. All it does is take. It doesn't give nothing. But now I don't. And like Sister Star said, these are just children talking, man. Grown ass children complaining about why you ain't pick me for a show. Shut up. A show. And that's why I don't even watch football. I don't even watch it no more, man. It's just like, it's for when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. We got too many grown men still on this sports piece, man. But I understand why. Because they don't want to fight. They want to party. It's like Frederick Douglass says, these holidays and these entertainment facilities are just, they quench the revolutionary spirit, the insurrection spirit.
Come on.
That's what they do.
Come on.
You don't have time to want to fight when you want to party. This is crazy to me. It really
And this is, hey, brother Juan, this is why I'm bringing it up, because this is all happening during an election season.
Right. That part. Like you're worried about Tunchi. Really?
You worried about Tucci. You worried about Mr. 400 degrees over here. You
Doc, watch
know,
this. I'm thinking about pulling a lone wolf Charleston White on y'all. I'm thinking about really becoming real. I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
To get your attention.
Yeah.
Because the serious things, they just like, you know what? It goes in one ear and out the other thing. But the foolishness, they hold on to the foolishness. I'm considering pulling a lone wolf Charleston White. Okay. I'm thinking about that. I'm really considering just switch up my whole platform. Because they want the foolishness. And I'm really considering giving them a whole lot of foolishness. So I can't believe he said that.
Bro, Juan, you too serious, man. Why we got to be serious?
Because serious people do serious things. That's why.
Yeah.
Serious people build infrastructures. Serious people build water systems. Serious people control the grids. Serious people send stuff into outer space. Not serious people complain about who's not performing at a damn Super Bowl.
But check this out, Juan. Not only did that Negro get involved with the conversation, this Negro got involved because it's important to have Weezy F Baby at this Super Bowl this year. This is the priority, not November the 5th, not our communities, not your inability to put food on the table, not the invasion of illegal immigrants across the country, not let me play this clip. Fair use.
But I do see like people blaming it like solely on Jay-Z when I don't think that's the truth. I think it's a committee, it's a board. I feel like it's different people who come into play when decisions like that are made. I do think it would have been great for Lil Wayne to be, just because of how much he's done in the game and how much he's meant to New Orleans, and that would have been a great opportunity. Never know if he's going to be included, if that was
okay.
Okay.
So how much he's done, what he means to New Orleans. Brother Juan, take it from there, sir. Because I got a clip.
So what has he done? I mean, what does he mean to New Orleans? I don't know. I mean, what you talking about? Has he built houses, apartment complexes? I'm not just talking about this passing out turkeys, for holidays. I'm talking about what infrastructure has he built? What? He gave us some good music. But we are the authority on music, blues, jazz, R&B, soul. I mean, you name we're music. But what has he done? Nothing. I mean, but you know what? But they're in that rap sphere. So, and they've like
that there was no such.
Yeah, they're in that rap sphere. So they're gonna, they're gonna what? They want to see their folks on that big stage. Now, I guess the goal now is we need to be, if I'm going to beat somebody, I need to be on the Super Bowl now. I got to do what Prince did, Michael Jackson did, Beyonce.
Right.
We get, if we really want to, if we want to be relevant to have made it like Usher did, we got to be on the Super Bowl.
But hold on, Brother Juan. Let me take it here, and we gonna get ready to shut it down, y'all. Because again, the cape is out for Lil Wayne all over the place, and even for Jay-Z. However, for all of you Negroes who tapped in tonight's broadcast to kind of determine the fate of your communities and your future, you care, right? And you let Fab tell you, Lil Wayne care about his country, his city, the things he's done, the impact he's had.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to hear from Lil Wayne's mouth himself, because I don't hear a man that cares about anything that's going on in his community. But that ain't me, it's him. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen. Fair use.
Controversy on Fox Sports when he said he personally doesn't see racism because so many of his fans are white.
I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism.
There was a lot of backlash from people about that. Would you change it, what you said, or
No,
you
not
still
at
feel the
all.
same way? What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea is that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police for a reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands Black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matter, especially to my.
Do you separate yourself from it?
I don't feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me. If you do, you crazy. You.
I want you to marinate on that. Yeah, we're going to stop the screen right there and there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for joining us here today. If you're here for the first time, don't make it the last time. You come to get the unapologetic perspective. No lubricant, no bullshit. You come to us. We cook over here. This is on their next podcast. Brother Vader, let me get your last words. Let everybody know what's shaking with you, sir. Vader, are you there? I know he's there. You there, Vader? All right, so I'm shutting down after. Okay. Brother Juan J. Johnson, sir, let them know how they can get a hold of you. What's shaking in the future?
You can catch me on Twitter. You can catch me on YouTube when I'm on. You can go to LWF Training, leave me a message. I respond back to you. I want to encourage you all to get your firearms, to get your ammo, to stock up on your utilities, your flashlights and everything. I think come November the 5th, you won't recognize this country. But you need to be ready, not getting ready. Just be ready. I want to salute the host with the mostest, Chef C, for this amazing broadcast. We did it. Live coverage of the debate, all the panels, and everybody who tuned in, man. I mean, everybody. I salute you. I salute you. You could be somewhere else, but you're here. I thank you. I appreciate you. And don't forget to subscribe to all these channels. When you leave here, go to, if you see that little right there, Lone Wolf, go to the channel, subscribe. Need you to donate to the broadcast. We need you to like it. We should have at least 500 likes because we got 1,000 people watching. Okay, before you leave, like it, and also share it. Come back and listen to the rebroadcast and hear something different. I'm gonna do a follow-up on this whole Tyrese piece because you need to know that that's the gang out there. That Florida Highway Police Patrol, that's a gang. Some of them are gang members, and we haven't dealt with that race card yet. And I saw it. It's as clear as day. Okay, so I'm gonna deal with that later on this week.
Most definitely. Salute to my brother Juan J. Johnson, Lone Wolf Firearms, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to him. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, hell of a broadcast. and y'all checking in with us today. I want to thank everybody for tapping in today, ladies and gentlemen, joining us for this particular live coverage of today's presidential debate. And I want y'all to keep in mind, man, your vote can matter if the tangibles you require are delivered. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for joining me here today. If you're catching the playback, feel free to support the program by hitting the Cash App $FTS49 or the Venmo at From the Soil to support the kitchen and keep the exhaust fan on as we continue to cook. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, in a system of white degeneracy, you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. My name is Chef C, and I'm out.